Denisha's a strong woman, a good loving woman, good mother, good wife, just an amazing person in general.
She's beautiful, had a beautiful heart, and wanted to always be there for everybody, take care of everybody.
It made everything different because we usually are stuck to the hip. And after I married her, she went straight to the military. She was the leader of this family. She was the leader of everything. Like anything went through her. She just wanted us to be proud of her, and we were absolutely proud of her, everything she did.
Hey, honey.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Jada. Hey, Mom.
I love you.
Denisha Montgomery.
Brookie's crying too.
I know, I don't want to cry.
I just want to come home. Look what they did to
Brooklyn.
me.
Distraught, covered in bruises, and crying out for help.
God. I know. What is that from?
I don't know.
The 27-year-old mother of
That
three
looks like
was
a
serving as a
fucking,
military police
knife or
officer in
something.
Wiesbaden, Germany, when her family got this call.
We're sicker. What the?
It was July 2022, following a trip to a water park with a group of colleagues.
It'll be worse tomorrow.
Oh my God! Don't let the kids hear.
Montgomery told her family she'd been drinking and was assaulted by four
What?
other military police officers on the car ride home. The family says the Army told them Montgomery wasn't attacked. The Army said her colleagues were trying to keep her from exiting the car. But a new video gives us a glimpse into what happened inside the car that night. Military investigators unexpectedly showed the family this video in a conference room earlier this year. You're seeing a cell phone recording of that meeting.
His hand is around her neck.
The reactions are real and raw.
And why is it covered? Why is it covered? We can't see anything.
I mean, I'm watching a man attack my daughter. So imagine what's going through my mind.
He's literally screaming in pain.
Why are you trying to jump out?
On August 9th, 21 days after the first call to her family, Montgomery was found dead in her barracks room. The Army ruled her death a suicide, concluding Montgomery hanged herself. Her family has major doubts, especially since she was scheduled to return home to her three young children just weeks later.
She had bags packed and ready to come home. There was no indication or any sign of her taking her own life.
The family's distrust stems from conflicting information they've received from the military and several inconsistencies with the investigation along the way.
We know that the military told us a lie when they said that my daughter wasn't attacked, okay? So here it is.
WDRB asked for the full videos from the incident in the car, and the family requested their own copies as well.
God, why are they holding her like that?
The Army hasn't provided them. It also doesn't appear the other officers involved have faced any disciplinary action.
Somebody should have been prosecuted for that attack.
They're still walking around. They still hug their families. They still carry weapons. They still pull people over. Is that not terrifying?
Reaches around and grabs her by the neck.
The family hired attorney Lindsay Knapp to help them get answers about Montgomery's death. Knapp says she's uncovered several issues with the Army's investigation.
So the first person who was assigned to investigate Denisha's death found that Denisha was not suicidal, that she was assaulted in the vehicle, that she was bullied and harassed, and that her command did not act appropriately. But after we went to the news and started to share the video of Denisha reporting the assault, they took it away from that investigator and gave it to another one at Fort Bragg, who then came up with the exact opposite conclusion.
It's not unusual for a death investigation to be turned over to the Army's Criminal Investigation Division, or CID, but Knapp questions the timing. WDRB noted several differences between the report completed by that first investigative officer in Germany and the CID report, including conflicting information about keys to Montgomery's room.
The initial investigating officer that was assigned to Denisha's case found multiple inconsistencies with key control. And that individual found that at least one key wasn't turned back in until 24 hours after Denisha's death.
But the CID report says all keys were accounted for. Building surveillance footage could have shown if anyone entered or exited Montgomery's room the night of her death. But the report shows those cameras were turned off a few weeks before she died and didn't come back on until after her body was discovered.
They said all the keys were accounted for. Now we're seeing that they're not, and the cameras get turned off in the barracks. What a coincidence.
The CID report also says Montgomery was depressed, drinking frequently, and had suicidal thoughts in the weeks leading up to her death. Knapp says the Army hasn't provided any concrete proof, but believes the military failed Montgomery regardless.
If the military's position is that she was suicidal, it's still their fault. If Denisha killed herself, it's still their fault because they did nothing to assist her during that time. Particularly, they didn't do anything about the assault in the vehicles.
WDRB asked the Army about the inconsistencies between the reports and whether Montgomery's leadership failed to provide her support that could have saved her life. We didn't get those answers. Instead, a statement about a secondary procedural investigation called a 15-6. In part, the statement says the commanding general at Fort Bragg, Lieutenant General Christopher Donahue, appointed an investigating officer to conduct a supplemental 15-6 to identify any unresolved or newly identified issues and support Specialist Montgomery's family by providing greater transparency and accountability. The supplemental investigation is now complete, and Lieutenant General Donahue will share the results with the family members as soon as possible. While they await those results, Montgomery's family vows to continue their push for transparency, still hoping an independent agency will investigate her death.
We're tired of the lies. We want the truth, and we're gonna fight till we get it. We ain't going nowhere.
My biggest thing that I want out of all this, because obviously I cannot have my child back, would be for the future Denishas to be able to make it home to their families during peacetime.
Fighting so no other family experiences their grief.
Denisha's name will not be in vain. It will not be in vain until my last breath.
With photographer Darius Bowie, Hayden Rostevsky, WDRB News.